Hey guys, welcome back. So in the last video, we talked about our body tag. We created some component areas like the header, main, and footer. We talked a little bit about our paragraphs, our unordered list items, nested lists, order lists, as well as anchor tags, which are our links. And then we also talked about our H1 to H6 and kind of its importance in regards to search engines to help them know what is important on the page. Later on, we're going to talk a little bit more and dedicate a little more time to search engine optimization, which helps your site be discovered by search engines and know what kind of content you actually have on the site. But we'll talk a little bit more about that in the future. Right now, in this video, we're going to talk, introduce you guys to CSS. So you may be asking yourself, what is CSS? CSS stands for Cascading Style Sheets. Cascading Style Sheets is the styles that get applied to your page or to your site. The reason why it's called Cascading Style Sheets is because the styles that you apply towards the top of the document would cascade down to the bottom of the document, as well as changes that you make on the bottom of the document would override changes that are happening towards the top. It will make more sense once we actually start adding styles to the site. So let me show you real quick. What would happen if we wanted to add styles, say, to our paragraph here that says header content area? If we wanted to add some styles, maybe make that font size a little bit bigger, we can go to the the Firefox, and we can see here how the site looks. What if we wanted this to be a little bit bigger? Let's go ahead and add styles to the header. So what we're going to do is we're going to type in the word style equals quotes, and then here's where we're going to set up our attributes and properties. So here we go. We're going to set up, for example, font size, and we're going to say something like 25 pixels. You'll notice that I did the declaration here, font size, colon, and then the value 25px for pixels. And don't forget, you have to have a semicolon at the end of that declaration. It lets us know that when we have another declaration set up next to it, that it knows that this is the end of this declaration right here. So if we save our document, and then we go into Firefox and we refresh, you'll see that the font size of this paragraph is much bigger than the font size of the paragraphs below. Now you may be asking yourself, well, what if I want to add styles to the other paragraphs? Well, we can do the following. We can copy and we can go in and paste these styles to the other two paragraphs, save our document, and then we can refresh our site. And now you have all of these styles here, and all these paragraphs look the same. But I'm pretty sure you have a question in your mind, which is, what if I have like 100 paragraphs? Do I have to do that over and over again? What if you had to change this font size to say 20 pixels instead of 25? Well, if we were to do inline CSS styles, you'll see that here we'll have to, this one is 20 pixels and these are still 25. We will have to go in and make changes to every single one of them. Well, we have a different way where we can add more styles and it reflects to the rest of them. So let's for example, let's erase or delete these styles for the bottom paragraphs. And on this one, I'm going to keep just the style attribute, but we're going to do something with it later. So you can keep it in there. So on the head tag, we can add styles as well. So for example, take a look. We can write in the tag called style. It's not a self-closing tag, so you need to make sure that we're closing it again. The less than sign, the / style, and then greater than sign. So we have an opening and a closing tag. Here, we're going to select the element that we want to add styles for. So for example, in this case, we want to add styles to our paragraph. Guess what? The way that you select it is by using the paragraph, the element tag. So here we'll use P for our paragraph. We'll do a space and then curly brackets, and then we'll hit return. Anything inside of these curly brackets will be applied to our paragraph. Just like kind of what we talked about indentation for HTML, we also need to be conscious about indentation on CSS. It will help us know where a tag opens or a style opens and where it closes. It will help us know when we're actually opening and closing and if we're maybe missing that closing tag. So we need to know all of those things. Inside of that paragraph tag, we're going to use our trusty font size that we use down below. So we're going to say font size, and here let's do something like 40 pixels. We're going to save this, and then I would like for you to pay attention to all three paragraph tags: the header content area, main content area, and footer content area. When we refresh this, all three content areas were affected by our paragraph tag that was, or styles that were added to the head tag on our HTML document. You can play with it, you can make changes to sizes, and then you'll see that all paragraph tags will change their font size because we're declaring them here. Now, remember how we left this one here on the bottom where it says header paragraph style? Well, what would happen if we add font size, say 40 pixels here? I want you to think about it, and let's see if we were right. If we go back to our browser and you refresh, guess what happened? All of our paragraphs, except for the first paragraph where we added the styles, still have a font size of 20 pixels, but the header content area paragraph that we had now has a 40 pixel size. Why? The reason why is because styles that are applied to the element or to what's closest to the element will take prevalence compared to styles that are applied farther away. So you cannot get any closer than this paragraph style right here. This paragraph style is called inline style. This is called header style. This, again, affects a single element. This affects all the styles within the page. However, you have to think about this though. What if you have more than one page? If you look at the navigation that we created down here, we're thinking about creating our index page, about us page, projects page, 4 project pages, and another contact page. So we're talking about 8 different pages that we will have to add these styles to. Well, what if we decide to change our font size to say 16 pixels? That will mean that we will have to go in and change 8 different files so that we can change that font size 16 pixels. But we have something that we could use. Let's go ahead and erase these other styles. And as you know, we're going to bring them back in just a little bit. That's why we're keeping them there. Remember in the beginning when we talked about our head tag and we added this code right here, our link to our style sheet, and then the href css /stylesheet.css. Let's go ahead and create that file now. What we're going to do is we're going to go into our Explorer, click on our CSS folder, and create a new file. In here, we're going to create the file called style.css. Please note that I am actually using the same case, style, all lowercase, .css, just as if I like the way that I have it here. If I wanted to have, say, style with a capital S, then what I would do is I would make sure that this is capital S as well, so that there's no issues with linking those files and keeping them the same. But I personally like, and I would recommend you keeping all your files names all lower cases. So here we have our style.css. Again, this is what is called an external style sheet. We have an inline header or head style sheet, and then you have an external style sheet. The benefit of having an external style sheet is that this style sheet can be used over and over and over in multiple pages. The beautiful thing about this as well is that here, what we can do is that when we save this file, we can only use one style sheet, and this style sheet will be ruling over all the styles for all the pages. You don't have to create a template.css file or an index.css file or an about us.css file, as long as you're just using style sheets. And most of these can be very customizable so that it can be used throughout the site. So ideally, you would have a single style sheet in all of your site. This will keep everything very, very consistent. So let's go back and let's go ahead and add our paragraphs and tag here. Paragraph, open curly brackets and close curly brackets. And then here what we're going to do is we're going to do font size. And let's go ahead and add that 60 pixels again so that we can see it. We go to the browser and we refresh, and now all of our styles, all of our font sizes have changed to, for our paragraphs, have changed to 60 pixels. Let's go ahead and change that to say 40 pixels and refresh that. But remember, we talked about things or styles being closer or farther away. Remember, things that are closer will take prevalence over things that are farther away. So let's go into our template.html, and here on our header style sheet, let's go ahead and add a font size of say 20 pixels. If we save this and we refresh here, then notice that now the header style sheet takes prevalence over our external style sheet. Well, let's go in and add another style sheet, another style to the inline for an inline style sheet to our paragraph. And here let's do font size 10 pixels. When we refresh, our header content area paragraph will have a much smaller font size. Why? Again, inline style is closer to the paragraph, so it overrides our header style sheet. Our header style sheet is closer to the document than the external style sheet, and our style sheet is just the farthest one away. But again, if you ever have issues with maybe something not rendering properly, and you may have added styles to your page or inline, this is the first thing that I always check. Are there any inline styles or any header styles? So here I'm going to delete them because I believe that the best practice is always to use an external style sheet for your site so that you can keep things consistent. So now we have our paragraph style sheet. We save that again, and then we refresh, and now we have all of our paragraphs looking the same. So this was just an introduction to style sheets, the 3 different ways in which you can add style sheets, and then we just played a little bit with our paragraph style sheet. In the next video, we're going to set up some custom styles that are going to be basic styles that will be applied to our page so that we can start making it look a little bit better. And then we're going to start working a little bit more on different elements that we have on our site and a little bit on typography as well. So I'll meet you in the next video.